morning, everybody. If you could just maybe just post something in the chat saying you can hear me, that would be great. As you can see, I'm not George. My name's Caroline, and I'm one of the team here at Sangha Live. George is unable to be with us this morning, so I'm standing in for him, and it's really lovely to be here. Oh great, I can see that you can hear me, so fantastic, thank you. So yes, it's lovely to be here with you this morning and to see some familiar names in the chat. So welcome to you all, wherever you are in the world. We're here this week, as I'm sure you're all aware, with Sophie Boyer, and we're discussing the juicy topic of being body. So we're going to be here for an hour. We will start off with about 15 minutes of Dharma talk, then going into a meditation, which I believe is normally around half an hour. And then the last 15 minutes will be your opportunity to ask questions of Sophie, if you have any, about your practice, about today's topic, about the theme in general. And if you would like to ask a question, there's a couple of ways that you can do that. You can type it in the chat where you're all introducing yourselves now, and I'm sure most of you are aware of this, but we would ask you to just preface your question with the word question in capital letters, and that just helps me and Sophie to keep an eye on where they are as the chat moves up. We can find them easily. Alternatively, you'd be very welcome to come on screen if you'd like to, and to do that you can just raise your hand. You should see underneath the video screen there's a little hand icon. If you click on that, it will turn that icon yellow, and we can see that you'd like to come on, and then I can invite you on at an appropriate time. And then before we start, I'd just like to mention Dana. Sophie is here all week, offering her wisdom and her knowledge freely. And we offer these sessions freely, and it's a beautiful thing to do. It's lovely that we can do it this way so that everybody is welcome. But as you are probably aware as well, because we mention it all the time, the sessions aren't free to run. We have ongoing expenses that we do need to meet in order to keep bringing these sessions and all the other sessions that we offer to you. So if you would be inclined to donate, if you're able to donate, if you want to donate, you'd be very welcome to do so. We rely 100% on your donations to be able to do this. We don't have income that comes from anywhere else. So you'd be supporting us in meeting all our costs. You'd be supporting the team that works with Sangha Live behind the scenes. And you will also be supporting Sophie if you give at any time before the end of the day on Friday. So I'll post the link in the chat in a second when I finish speaking. So I think that's all I need to say. I'm going to take myself off screen and hand you all over to Sophie, and I wish you all an enjoyable and fruitful session, and thank you, Sophie, for being with us again this week.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline, for this lovely and very clear introduction. I've been checking on the chat, and I really would like to send a really warm welcome to everyone from wherever you are joining us this morning. I noticed some have been calling from Australia. That's such a nice thing to reflect upon, to know that we are all from different parts of the world, and as I always say, connecting in this very moment together. it is such an opportunity that Sangha Life is offering to all of us. So really, a really warm welcome to those who've been with us since Monday, and for those who are stepping in this morning or evening. Uh, yeah, it's really a delight to share this time of practice together. Um, since the beginning of this week, we have followed the instruction of the Buddha, suggesting to learn to see the body in the body, as said in the Satipatthana Sutta, and to really enter into this landscape, this realm of body sensations. And in doing so, we might have come to notice that, oh, the sensations that are met and seen and noticed are also subject to change. And this morning, this is what I would like more specifically reflect upon, that aspect of the body, its changing nature. And of course, we have such a short time, so just trying to wrap it up as best as I can, as it is a huge topic to cover. But basically, I think we are all familiar with change conceptually. We know that things are changing. We know this body is changing, but it remains quite conceptual. And when it comes to the body, it can really turn very quickly to become a source of stress and tension. In life, we all tend naturally to seek for stability and solidity, and without noticing, we may fight, this natural flow of change, especially body-wise. And this morning, I'm going to raise a couple of questions you may like to reflect upon and take with you during the day and the week. Do we really take the time to question this relationship I have with change? For example, do I allow a pleasurable thing to end easily? Do I allow an unpleasant thing to be? And waiting patiently, it goes away. And usually this is an area where we really tend to struggle, because we try to make, as you probably all know, we try to make pleasure last and try most of the time to get rid of discomfort, or having this tendency to deny this aspect of human life. But again, here the Buddha has a wonderful tip to offer to us, offering another way of engaging with change. And what is said is one sutta is that he says that when the perception of impermanence is developed and cultivated, it eliminates all sensual lust, all lust for existence, and all ignorance. It uproots all conceit, I am. So I put it again on the chat for you, but you might be already familiar with that part of the sutta. So this is in Samyutta Nikaya 22.102. So I'm just gonna, take a little part of this that is interesting. Is this when the perception of impermanence is developed and cultivated? What does it mean? What is it meant by that? And the Buddha really invites us here to probably to develop a deeper understanding of change, and that deeper understanding of change that really leads to more freedom in our life. He suggests to learn to see impermanence, body in the body, moment to moment, happening in the body, in a kind of a radical openness to it. usually when we start to incline toward that direction, when we turn our intention to see change more clearly, what usually is going to be met is more obstacles. Yeah. It's in some way it's very hard to recognize change happening, and today I just would like to point out very briefly maybe three obstacles that we may face. But of course, I'm very much aware I'm only scratching the surface. But three suggestions, three angles of approach that you may like to again reflect upon. And one of the first, and the first one, maybe why it's so difficult to meet up with change is because of the distorted perception we have in the way we see this body. Although we know it's subject to decay, we tend to see it as being permanent. We do not really recognize its changing nature. So are we really aware of the momentariness of change in it? Right now, for example, am I aware right now, sitting in front of the screen, that change is really happening? Are we really in touch with the arising and falling, in every phenomena in this body? A simple example, and that's where the meditation is going to take us today, it's just simply in watching the breath. To which extent am I aware of its changing nature? The second aspect I would like to develop a bit is the inattention that conditions or misperception of what is seen or experienced. For example, the simple statement, "Oh, it's always like this. It has always been like this, and it's always going to be like this." All these moments, that come out of automatism as a habit. And if we really take a moment to ponder on that, we may start to notice, how many ideas and opinions and beliefs we have that are based on that. And one of the other aspects that is quite interesting is it's more related, to kind of a habitual or instinctive resistance or fear or pulling back from whatever that can be unpleasant, any experience or anything that can lead to a sense of loss. We all can relate to this moment of loss or sadness that arise, and how we just try to escape from them. And sadness is just one other example. Maybe again here, another question, another beginning of an inquiry. For us, is sadness a problem? Or do we really consider it, as part of our life, as part of being human? Loss, sadness. This is true that if we look in our society, we big changes are not included. And to come back to the body, the way we place aging, illness and death, for example, this is something society or even us, we tend to hide. Except if you work in the medical field, these things are hidden in hospital, and we don't really want to see them. Even noticing, how sometimes we even try to prevent kids to be around death, and to see the result of that. Is it really skillful? So how would it affect our relationship with this body if we would realize deeply that that everything is in transition, whether it's breathing, hearing, touching, seeing, tasting, any sensation, that everything is in movement. Would I so identify to this body if I would recognize this transition all the time? Would I call this my body? Because when we really observe so deeply, where is the solidity in all this? As everything is so moving and changing. What would it be to really follow the instruction of the Buddha, to practice and to learn to see in a different way, to allow perception to shift, to explore the perception of change, and learning to notice, this constant moving, which is very useful when facing pain, what we talked about yesterday. Really to learn slowly to stop to try to create a different reality than the one that is happening right here, right now. As listening to me in front of the screen, am I fighting any discomfort in the posture? Or is there this openness to it? And at the same time, can we open to the reality that we can't rely on this body, but also recognizing we always want to believe that we can rely on? This kind of paradox here. And can we learn to recognize in many ways that every time we resist to change, this is the doorway to tension, this is the doorway to fight. Resisting to the change of physical appearance, resisting to illness when it comes. And I do not mean here to not take care of it, but really learning to recognize that resisting, clinging does not work, does not bring peace. It just freezes us. And what happens when, on the contrary, what happens when there is no resistance to change? What happens? What reveals itself at that moment? Does it lead to a deeper sense of ease, a deeper sense of openness, and also a deeper sense of connection? I don't know if I have the time. Try to make it short before closing. For those who know me, there is an example I really like to share, to express so vividly and poignantly this paradox that change is revealing. It's as you know, I'm offering meditation in an oncology ward, and one day we had a patient that came back from an appointment with her oncologist, and she came to the class to meditate. It was the first time she came, and she came very angry, very, very angry, because she was just told, that she had a quite aggressive cancer. And for us to acknowledge a resistance was really a teaching, because she came and she said, "This is not true. I don't feel I'm sick. I'm not sick. This oncologist is really is telling something that is wrong. Is wrong. Is not competent, and etc. etc. etc." So she was really denying this moment of, oh, I'm healthy. There is health, and suddenly, things change, and sickness, illness is coming. And what was very interesting is during this meditation, we explore a bit that, not directly. And after the session, she really connected with her resistance, and this is something she shared with us. That with her anger, she was completely denying, she was completely trying to put away the reality that she was sick and that something needed to be done. And she explained that this was preventing her from connecting, with actually sadness, and also a healthy response, to what was happening. And for us, what was so poignant in this example is that in this attempt, to deny that things have changed, there is the attempt to be happy. If I hold on to health, I'm going to be happy. This was really a lesson for us. It's really that she really realized that this is not working. So how can we embrace this paradox, that on the one hand, this body is inconsistent and unstable and subject to illness and decay, and on the other hand, um, taking into account that this is a vessel for life and that we can appreciate it, we can love and care for it, and really seeing the beauty in it. And can we learn to look at it to look at this body without expecting from it to give us something it cannot give, sometimes. Because every time we do that, this is a kind of looking at things, looking at the body from the perception that it's going to last and that it is permanent. Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe just take a moment to stretch and find a comfortable posture, and we're going to sit for a while with all of this. Really inquiring what would be the most appropriate posture right now. To lie down, to sit cross-legged on a cushion or on a chair, on a couch, or standing up, or even if it feels appropriate to, practice mindful walking, please do so. Things change, and maybe if you plan to sit in a certain way, just check right here, right now, what is needed. I'm really getting a sense of the, the space the body is taking. Maybe a sense of the space around us in the room we find ourselves in. Acknowledging that in this very moment there is nothing to achieve, nothing to conquer, nothing to fight against. Just settling in this room, settling in this posture. Contacting the ground beneath our feet or body. allowing the life of this body to be. Whatever that it may be experienced right now, just noticing without trying to change anything. If there is agitation, just noticing at agitation. If there is a lot of thinking, just acknowledging a lot of thinking. If we do not try to change the reality of what is experienced right here, right now, we don't block the flow, this flow of rising, leaving for a while, and passing away. When we try to keep it or get rid of it, that's when the struggle comes. Just allowing things to be. With patience and faith. A faith that is based on the recognition that everything that arises will pass away. And if it feels right for you, inviting awareness to settle on the movement of breathing And really exploring the changing nature of an in-breath, of an out-breath. It seems quite familiar, quite similar on the surface, but when we really dive into the sensation of inflating, deflating, contraction, expansion, temperature, we might discover this constant flow of change at the heart of every in-breath, every out-breath. You're noticing on many levels how this moment is really in transition. And noticing maybe the difference, when a part of us is taking control of the breath and, and when the breath is unfolding on its own. You're noticing the difference of experience in these two situations. When I'm doing the breath or when there is just a recognition of the breath happening, rising and falling. And then no judging, just noticing the difference. Things change. At some moment there is control, at some moment there is no control. Just exploring. How does it feel to meet the life of this body without resisting, without resistance? In this very simple act of following an in breath and an out breath, and not adding anything else to that experience. being with change moment to moment. Maybe noticing a sense of ease and profound connection. Just following the changing nature of an in-breath, of an out-breath. Nothing remarkable. A sense of peace that may comes along. You're noticing the effect of transitioning from immobility to movement, in maybe starting to open the eyes and stretching the body. Giving attention to this change of posture, this change of perception. Noticing also the effect on the sitting on physically. How does feel this body right here, right now? Sitting or lying down. And as I've taken quite some time for speaking, there's not so much time for question and answer, but please take the space now if you wish to share any comment on your experience or any comment or question about what has been said and heard. There's need of a clarification for anything. Question: can you explain the meaning in this context of the word conceit? Okay, just give me a second to really check what offers the dictionary in French, that I don't go into wrong direction. Conceit, suffisance. I think I would need to ponder on this question. I'm not sure I can really answer quite clearly right now. But how does it feel when there is a sense of strong, a strong sense of self, when experiencing something, especially in the body? I am angry, or is there anger? What difference does it make in terms of experience? Conceit really implies that there is a me somewhere on the way. And is this question, when we come to meet with change, is it something that can be questioned? The existence of this me. When we come to meet things moment to moment, and we start to discover that this me, that this is happening to me. If I put this into the example I gave with this woman, she felt that it was her, it was happening to her, until she realized that actually these was just things coming together that were making her experiencing this is me, this is my cancer, this is my illness. And in really noticing in moment to moment, that this, what was happening was just the expression of certain conditions put together, realizing that this sense of self was really relative. and that actually there were nothing really solid in what she thought was me. And I would say that conceit is related to that, when there is this is me, this is my experience, this is, I am such and such. This is my body. This is happening to my body. Is it really true? On one level, this is my body. But on another level, what makes this body happening has nothing much to do with me. I don't know if this brings something. Maybe this is something I could ponder a bit this afternoon and try to give more thoughts about it, if you wish. If it's feel, Emmanuel. Yeah, I think so, Merlin. You can just write question and put it directly into the chat. I guess so. And to come back to this question about conceit, maybe what is interesting for us to explore is, in terms of experience, what is the difference, when something is experienced from a space where there is this strong sense of me and when there is not. Is there contraction when there is this sense of me, when there is no contraction, when there is no sense of me? Not me, not mine. Yeah, exactly. It's really about discovering, where we find ourselves in, where there is this contraction, when there is not. How this body is experienced. I think, yeah, we're coming to the end of this session. I don't know if Caroline, you want to add anything else? Merlin, I think there is no question. Thank you to all for your presence, for practicing together today. And very much look forward to seeing you tomorrow, when we will talk more about the pleasurable aspect of being body. Body as a space where love, joy, and pleasure can be experienced. Take a good care.